This is
This is
This is the Real Talk No Cap podcast.
episode 1, Perspective. Welcome to the Real Talk No Cap podcast, a brand new podcast brought to you by the CRC. We want to thank them first for allowing us to do this and be unfiltered a little bit. We'll get more into that a little bit, but today I'm your host. It's Marami Muhammad No. You guys probably know me, loudmouth of the community. We also got one of my friends and one of my frenemies. We got Saria Sauce. Can't guess if she's my friend or my frenemy. You guys probably already know the answer. And we got Abdul Hamid. Tell us about yourselves, man. We're going to get right into it. Tell us about this podcast. But before we do that, we want to hear a little bit about you guys. Let's go to Abdul Hamid first. Come on, tell us a little about yourself, my man.
All right, peace be upon you all that's listening in. My name is Abdul Hamid Abdurrahman. At CRC, I'm the credible messenger and the program coordinator. I'm working with the youth. But at CRC, we serve the intergenerational community, so we assist anyone who walks into our doors.
You don't know how long he had to take to practice that, but that was a good run, Abdul Hamid. What about Saria over here?
So I'm here, lifetime community member, here to lend a hand wherever I'm needed.
Quakers represent. She went to Franklin High School. We all grew up in the South End, so that's why if you hear a little bit of ghetto-ness, that's where it's coming from. But we want to be unfiltered a little bit. This is Real Talk, No Cap. So let's go ahead and talk about it. First, I want to know, what is it? Who can give me a summary? I'm used to teaching, so we're gonna do this school style. Go ahead, Ami.
All right, so pre-COVID, Real Talk used to be a monthly check-in with our young adults in our community. All kind of issues, taboo issues, things that that are affecting our community, our youth. During the sessions, we discuss real issues, real topics that our youth are facing, community members go through, and we don't have any channels or avenues to discuss these topics. So at the monthly session was a time where we got together, a safe space where people can just talk about anything they have on their chest, on their mind. And
Right.
Others would just listen in and then share their input. And
Was there a particular topic that really interests you when we were doing it with the youth?
I mean, we covered a lot of topics. Some topics was, financials, career path, marriage, which was a really big hot, topic that everyone enjoys. And I'm going to, share a little bit about that discussion itself. We also talk about, Islamic identity.
Right.
How do we feel, living the American dream and trying to hold our Islamic identity. Christchurch shooting,
Right, that was
a really big one,
yeah.
So we try to be really relevant on what's going on during,
Okay.
the current day.
So Hamid just explained what we did pre-COVID. Saria, I want you to talk about how we tried to translate it over to COVID time.
So as you know, everybody went virtual, and we thought that was the way to go with this platform because we didn't want it to just, we still wanted to kind of fill that void, still have a platform for people to share whatever they felt, real talk,
Right.
basically.
Right.
So then Zoom, I mean, as you know, Zoom is Zoom. People are doing it all day.
People
She's
were
very-
burnt out.
She's very nice. Saria, you just say it sucked. It was very tough.
I wouldn't say that. I thought it still reached, certain individuals, but
Right,
it didn't
that's
reach
true.
a population. And that's what we want because, and that's where we're here right now, trying to be available anytime. You could be standing in the kitchen listening to us or, just sitting
In the
down.
car driving home. I
Traffic.
think that was really good though when we something that we got out of the COVID sessions was a lot of people like to listen to us talk. Usually you have people disengaged, they won't say anything. They didn't really say anything, but at least they were putting the ha-has in the chat, and at least we were very entertaining. So we just decided, hey, let's come together and let's just talk and talk about several different things. I think those topics like, identity is important. We will talk about certain topics that may really be taboo that I feel like nobody's talking about, such as mental health, suicide, depression,
Drug addiction.
I mean, these things are going on in our community if people didn't realize that. But we want to be able to be to give our take on it because this is going to come from people within the community that's talking about it. And while we may think that I think a certain way or Saria thinks a certain way, I think it's really important for us to have different perspectives so that we're not always just one track mind. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that, Abdul Hamid?
I agree. I think everyone has their own like perspective, ideologies, their own values and principles, but there's always similar grounds where we can come together. Some values or something.
So this is a question to both of you guys. I feel like we're gonna open some can of worms. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, for me, I don't expect anyone to agree. And I do expect people to disagree as well. And we open this mic, this platform. Anybody who wants to come bring their perspective, you're welcome to.
Yeah, and I think just to comment on that, we're willing to have that conversation. We're not just somebody that's going to say this is how we think and we're going to reject yours. We can have a discussion about this. I mean, I don't want to say that I used to be this guy that used to take no crap or anything like that, but I've grown with old age. I got 3 kids now. I'm 31. Oh, excuse me, I'm 32, but I feel like I'm 40 because of so much that I've dealt with. And with wisdom, we just talked about it a little bit earlier, pre-funk session, that, with knowledge, you got to accompany it with wisdom. And I think for us, we're really open-minded, and we're willing to talk about that. Are you afraid, Abdul Hamid?
To be honest, I'm a little nervous. It's something I don't usually do.
Right.
Me talking, just sharing where my point of view. Sometimes I just like to sit back and just hear other people's perspective and let them speak, and from there, and I'll reflect upon my own life, because I have my own problems. I have my own issues that I deal with.
Right, and that's the good part. Nobody's saying that we're professionals out here. We will have some professionals, but myself, Hamid, Surya, we're a bunch of nobodies. Let's get that straight right now.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm not a nobody. I am somebody. And
that's right.
But the only wisdom I have are my 3 wisdom teeth left. So I'm here to.
She always got to throw a pun.
And I'm not going to tell you how old I am, because people might think I'm younger than I am.
MashaAllah. That means Allah has made that happen for those that don't know our lingo in this community. But that's something that's really important that we're going to be talking about, is the community. And I feel like it's important to know that we have different perspectives in the community. That's kind of what makes a community. I remember somebody telling me, which I respected a lot, was when we were working in an organization on a project, he said, we're doing a lot of arguing here. And at first, I was like 22 or something like this. And I was like, whoa, man, that's not a good thing. But he's like, this is actually a great thing. We want to have different perspectives. We don't want a lot of yes men. And I think that's really important. Right? It's okay for us to be able to say, no, I don't agree with that. Let's discuss why. Let us hear what you have to say, so we can say something as well. I mean, isn't that how conversations happen? Right? You say how it is, I say how it is, and this is all it is. Right? This is a conversation. And if people are afraid, I don't think they should be, because you know what? In school, what did we learn? When we write an essay, we give our argument, and then we give the rebuttal. And then we give the counter, they give the counter argument, and then we give the rebuttal, right? So at the end of the day, I think this will also strengthen the beliefs that individuals have as well. So we don't want this to be too long. I do want to ask one last final question to you guys. What do you guys feel that people are going to get out of this?
Well, for me, I feel like it'll just be different perspectives, and it might open up, again, like you mentioned, a can of worms. But that's what we welcome. I think that's how our community was able to thrive all this time. It's because of everyone's perspectives coming together and coming for one purpose.
How about you, Amit?
And just to add on to what Surya is saying is to hear insights and perspectives of others, and again, that maybe can even relate with you, okay. And maybe it doesn't relate with you, but it brings up a discussion where you can have a conversation over, with a friend or with the person speaking, that's on the mic right now. So
yeah, because I think what you were talking about, I think a lot of people are shy to ask these questions, right?
Right.
I mean, Hamid, did you ask anybody about mental health when you were younger? Or
no. Actually, I was one of those guys who just threw it under the rug, honestly, and I just felt like, man, no one's talking about it. It seemed like nobody's going through it. So am I the only one?
I feel like it's generational. I mean, I feel like seniors, elderly have been through a lot of trauma, PTSD, mental health issues, but nobody talks about it. Right. So who are we with little issues?
For sure.
That are,
Yeah, we grew up. I think all of us grew up from our parents. Man, I used to walk 5 miles to school. and not trying to downplay because they did
That's
have to
real.
do
Yes.
they did have to do those things.
That's true. That's why we
Their
don't
struggle is-
we
every
don't
struggle
even
is
bother.
different.
And it was like everything was like suck it up. Hey mom, I got a B. You should have got an A. I mean that's how we kind of grew up
Right.
and so it was very hard for us to show certain type of emotions kind of growing
That's
up.
right.
Right? Because we had this standard that our parents held us to. Now, growing up in America, especially myself, I'm an educator, and I think it's really important to be able to have our children in this generation think as Americans while preserving who we are as Muslims and as Cham Americans. But it's important for us to be able to identify ourselves as American, to talk about what things Americans talk about. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, you live in this land, you eat their food, you have their culture. We're Americans, whether you like it or not. And mental health is something that definitely afflicts a lot of people, especially in our community. So yeah, I'm glad this is going to be an outlet for people to be able to speak on, right? Please comment on our page if you guys have questions and topics. I wanted to bring it back to Surya because I also think this is really important. Surya, right now, you're a sister and your voice is going to be heard. What do you expect, or what do you want from the sisters to be able to gain from this?
A voice. I feel like, I myself wouldn't have maybe a few years ago come up and talk, but I feel it's very important, especially during this time. Our voice matters. And from growing up, I've always heard to keep it real. So this is where real talk is going to be. We're going to keep it real.
Yep. And I think it's important. We'll have a mixture of youth out here, young adults, adults with families, and just kind of have different perspectives. The big topic is going to be probably marriage, but I'm not just going to have young people. I'm going to have from a parent's perspective as well, because I want to know. I'm a parent, right? So there's going to be a lot of things that I think you guys should look forward to. We're running out of time right now, but I definitely want to say that for us, we enjoy this. We think it's really important that people are able to have their voice heard and hear certain things in the community that we need to talk about. Because if we just keep sweeping things under the rug, there's no way that we're gonna have growth, right? And
Real talk.
And we're a consistently growing community.
That's for real,
right? So if you get offended, I feel sorry for you. I don't think you should be offended. Just come and talk to us. You don't like what we said? We're willing to talk about it. If you want to get on the mic, you got to make sure you take speech classes or something like this, because all of us, we had some speech training a little bit. This is actually our second session doing this because the guy behind the producer, he forgot to push record. So it was a good practice run for all of us. We're not gonna throw it out there who that guy was, but make sure that you guys tune in. Listen to the next one. It'll drop next week from now. Follow us on our page. I'm hoping this is on the CRC page, so make sure you subscribe to it, push the like button if you guys want to continue to support us. That's it for today. Look forward to the next one, and we'll see you guys later. May peace be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace. Real cap. No, what is it called?
real talk, no cap.
Podcast. Thank you guys so much.
We gon' say the least, but we gon' do them all. Coming from the bottom, never above.